Tonight on KGW News, thunderstorms and extreme wind fuel the Oregon wildfire that's already the biggest in the country.
In a matter of 2 seconds, everything you could ever have could be gone, turned upside down.
Plus, Oregon's Democratic delegates reveal who they plan to support come convention time. Then...
Oh my goodness, look at this!
A look at the program helping local families upgrade into more energy-efficient homes. And later, less than 36 hours to go till the opening ceremony in Paris.
It's all about peace, love, unity, and having fun.
Tonight, we take a look at what's new, including some Olympic firsts. First at 11, the view from a fire alert camera in eastern Oregon near the Dirky fire. Time-lapse video showing strong storms moving through this evening with gusty winds and much more as the sky turns red in the west at sunset before fire crews lose the light. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco. Those storms also brought much-needed rain to what is currently the largest wildfire in the country. The Baker County Sheriff calling that a, quote, godsend, and even reducing some of the evacuation levels. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Matt Safino. Matt, a bit of good news with the rain, but sounds like a lot of uncertainty, too, with all the lightning.
Well, a lot of good news tonight, actually, both in terms of the rainfall and the wind. Look at the Dalles right now. The winds are down to 12 miles an hour, 71 degrees right now, so it's still warm. But, boy, those winds have really backed off from where they were earlier this evening. Now, we're still getting some lightning around the state, but these storms have been producing some pretty good rainfall amounts, which is a major benefit because it reduces the chance of getting new fire starts from lightning, but it also, if you get rain on the fire, that's the best thing that could absolutely happen, right? And that's what has been happening on some of the fires. Not that many lightning strikes left. The storms are beginning to wind down. Not a lot of lightning, but we are still getting rain from some of these cells, which is good to see, especially up towards Baker City. So let's look at some of the rainfall amounts that we had. These locations, not a lot of rain, couple hundreds at John Day, 800s at LeGrand. Ontario had a severe thunderstorm go through, dropped nearly 1/4 inch of rain. I'm sure they were happy to see that. But if you look at some of the more remote weather stations that we have up in the mountains, it's pretty impressive. Down by Prairie City, they had about 2/3 of an inch of rain. And either side of Baker City to the south, and then also right over the Dirky fire, they had as much as 1/2 inch of rain. A place called Blue Canyon, another place called Morgan Mountain. So some really beneficial rain there. The other thing too, Dave, is that the humidity has gone way up, which slows the spread of the fire itself. It was very, very dry, of course, the last several days. Humidity went up to over 75% when the rain came through. This is what one of those rainstorms looked like near Monument, Oregon, earlier in the day from one of the University of Oregon webcams. And you can see that rain shaft reaching all the way down to the ground, which it had not been doing when we got the thunder last week. And finally, the smoke. It will push away, but notice there's still a lot of it coming from our fires. We don't have to worry about it here on the west side of the state, but the east side is going to remain very smoky as long as these fires are burning. A lot of the fire weather warnings have been allowed to expire, except for down in south central Oregon, but all of northeastern or eastern Oregon is free from fire weather warnings now, in large part because of the rain and the increased humidity, which will really decrease the threat of critical or erratic spread of the fires themselves. So a lot of good news actually out there tonight. The wind forecast is also dropping on down, finally down below about 10 miles an hour. This is for the Dalles, but it's a pretty good representation of the winds in the Columbia Basin. So thunderstorms ending tonight. Strong winds again tomorrow, especially in the Gorge near the microwave tower fire and the Bighorn fire. Thunderstorms tomorrow, yes, but only in extreme southeast Oregon, the extreme southeast part of Malheur County. So again, a lot of good news tonight. Fire's still burning, but at least we got the rain. David?
Hey, really some great news after a tough few days. Thank you, Matt. Let's take a closer look at the Dirky fire, once again the largest in the country. Catherine Cook is in the newsroom. Catherine, we should mention it's burning right next to other major fires that are also straining resources.
And David, the latest numbers show the Dirky fire at nearly 270,000 acres. That's 420 square miles the fire has scorched, and there's still no containment. But in an update tonight, the Baker County Sheriff's Office called the rain that moved through the area a godsend. In fact, the evacuation level for the city of Huntington has been reduced from a level 3 go now to a level 1 be ready notice. More evacuation levels could be reduced tomorrow. So far, the fire has destroyed 2 homes and 12 other structures. A firefighter spoke with our sister station in Boise today. He said he came across hundreds of cows and calves that they couldn't save from the fire.
And so when those ranchers lose all that, they don't have anything. So a lot of those ranchers, they may have to sell off most of their cows, take them to the sale barn because they can't afford to feed them, because the grass that they were depending on is now just ash on the ground. So I know it's devastating.
The fire also jumped I-84 earlier today. The interstate was already shut down as the flames got close. It's now closed in both directions from east of Pendleton to the Idaho border. Here's the advice ODOT is offering travelers.
We're encouraging people, if they must travel east-west through Oregon, that they consider, it might be a little bit out of the way, but to consider traveling on US 20.
ODOT is also warning people to not rely on GPS alone because conditions are changing rapidly in the area. You can also check for road closure updates on tripcheck.com. David.
Yeah, a little bit of rain and a whole lot of uncertainty still. Thank you, Catherine. Well, we also want to update you on 2 smaller fires we're watching around the Columbia River Gorge. First, the Whiskey Creek fire in Hood River County. It's burning 6 miles southeast of Cascade Locks in the Hatfield Wilderness. It sparked on Saturday and flared up in the last couple days to about 300 acres. The good news right now, there are no evacuation advisories. And to the east, crews have slowed the growth of the microwave tower fire that Matt mentioned there. It's now 14% contained. It's burned about 700 acres near Mosier. Evacuation orders remain in effect in some spots. Stay with KGW for continuing coverage throughout wildfire season. We have a running list of all the major fires up for you on KGW.com, along with links to the latest closures and evacuation alerts. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, the former Westview High football coach accused of slapping and shaking players awake at a football camp in June made his first court appearance today. 32-year-old Jamal Anthony Jones is facing 12 misdemeanor harassment counts. Jones resigned following the alleged incident and is currently on leave from his job as a Hillsborough police officer. He is expected to enter a plea in late August. A woman whose dogs attacked and killed a 6-year-old boy late last year has now been indicted on criminal charges. In December, the child's grandmother dropped him off at a friend's house in Northeast Portland. When the boy opened the door to the garage, the 2 Great Dane Mastiff mixes attacked. Both dogs were euthanized. Their owner, 56-year-old Coco Miller, faces charges that include criminally negligent homicide. And outgoing Multnomah County DA Mike Schmidt is reportedly making a big change to how juries are selected for misdemeanor criminal trials. OPB reporting that starting next week, Schmidt will end what are called preemptory challenges, which allow lawyers to dismiss prospective jurors without cause. The practice has been criticized for blocking visible minorities from serving on juries. Incoming DA Nathan Vasquez telling OPB he was not consulted and he will reconsider the change when he takes office next year. Saying he reveres the office but loves the country more. Tonight, in a rare Oval Office address, President Biden shed some light on his decision to end his re-election bid and emphasize the choice Americans now face. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
My fellow Americans.
President Biden sitting in the Oval Office he sought to occupy for years, telling the nation why he's walking away.
So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation.
The president acknowledging his personal struggle as pressure to drop out mounted from fellow Democrats, worried that questions over his age and mental sharpness meant he couldn't beat former President Trump.
I believe my record as president, my leadership in the world, my vision for America's future, all merited a second term. But nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy.
President Biden beginning to outline his legacy, promising to work hard through his final 6 months in office and praising his new choice for nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris.
She's experienced, she's tough, she's capable.
She has quickly consolidated support campaigning today in Indiana.
I am fighting for our nation's future.
As former President Trump shifts gears and sharpens his attacks against a new opponent.
Kamala, you're fired.
President Biden thanking voters for helping him rise from a kid with a stutter to the White House, while arguing the soul of the nation is still at stake.
The great thing about America is here, kings and dictators do not rule, the people do. History is in your hands. The power is in your hands.
Casting it as a choice to move forward or backward as he prepares to move aside. President Biden followed his address with a private moment with his family, then gathered in the Rose Garden with hundreds of White House staffers. Sounds like the description of a farewell party, but he's promising to be very present, both in the job and on the campaign trail for Vice President Harris throughout the rest of his term. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Meanwhile, all Democratic delegates in Oregon unanimously voted today to endorse VP Harris as the nominee for president. An Associated Press delegate survey already showed Harris with well over the number she needs to secure that nomination. Though keep in mind, this is not official. Delegates are expected to choose a nominee in an online vote by August 7th. The Democratic National Convention kicks off August 19th in Chicago. Straight ahead at 11 on this Wednesday, the solution that is helping some low-income families bring down their energy bills dramatically. Plus, music in the air, how you can still catch the sounds of summer for free.